Hey guys, okay, it is so hot. So if you hear noise, I have the window open, I apologize. I need to talk about the Canary Islands and the mainland Spain, or what we would say in Spanish, the peninsula. I need to talk about the differences, okay? Because I like both, but there are some things I like more about one, and there are some things I like more about the other. So if you're thinking about living or visiting these places and you don't know what they're about or which one would be better, well, I'll tell you my experiences. Maybe this will help you decide. So if you watch some of my older videos, you'll know that I used to live in Barcelona, Madrid, and now I live in the Canary Islands, in particular Fuerteventura. In the Canary Islands, I have been to 5 of the 7 islands, and in mainland Spain, other than Barcelona and Madrid, I have frequently visited southern Spain, Cadiz, Seville or Sevilla in Spanish, and Malaga. And I like all of Spain, but for different reasons. For example, the Canary Islands. It has its own culture that's so different from mainland Spain. People don't really understand until they come here, but it's like Spain, but with a Latin flavor. So you have the best of both worlds when you come to the Canary Islands, because it's part of Spain, but the culture is completely like Latin America. Let me tell you the things that I think one has that's better than the other, and maybe this will help you to decide. The beaches. The Canary Islands, hands down. They have the best beaches. I like Barcelona, I like southern Spain. You guys have nice beaches too, but they just don't compare to the Canary Islands. Fuerteventura, for example, has beaches with black sand, white sand, beaches that look like they came from a fairy tale, beaches that are not overly crowded. It's amazing. Housing market. If you're looking to buy a house, and we've looked in the Canary Islands and the peninsula, because as you know, we just bought a house. Canary Islands, hands down. Sorry, you get more bang for your buck. It's like, for example, the house we bought is 4 stories, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, has a garage, is next to the beach, and it was only 123,000 euros. We tried to look for something like this in the peninsula, and it was insanely expensive. However, I want to add, anything in Spain is going to be less expensive than the US, by far. Learning Spanish. Okay, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but if your goal is to come to Spain just to learn Spanish, you don't care about dialects or anything like that, you just want to learn the language, mainland Spain. I'm sorry, Canary Islands, but mainland Spain. The reason why I say this is because mainland Spain, especially if you go to Madrid or Castilla y León, I think these places, they have the best tools to learn Spanish. The Canary Islands, it's very difficult to learn Spanish in the Canary Islands. And one of my coworkers, she teaches Spanish here on the island, and she said the same. She said it's very difficult. The reason why it's difficult is because the vocabulary changes from island to island, and this can make it extremely difficult if you are new to learning Spanish. So for example, if you look up popcorn in Google, the Spanish definition, you'll probably get palomitas. This is the general word for popcorn in Spanish. Everybody knows this word, right? But here in Fuerteventura, they don't say palomitas, they say roscas. And if you said this in other parts of Spain or Latin America, they're gonna be like, what? And if you go to another island here, like Tenerife, they say cotufa. So you have that, and then you have a lot of expressions and some vocabulary that's just unique to the Canary Islands, and it makes it very, very difficult. However, if you are learning Spanish, and let's say, I know in the US, a lot of the, when people want to learn Spanish, a lot of people gravitate towards that Caribbean, Cuban, Dominican Republic, you know, that sort of dialect. Well, if you wanted to learn that type of dialect, the Canary Islands is the place you want to be. Not many people know this, but that accent was actually, that accent, the origin of that accent came from the Canary Islands. The way they speak here, they take out the S's. They speak, the accent is strikingly similar. And when I first came here, I was like, they sound like Latin Americans, and they say papas. They don't say patatas like in the mainland. And a lot of people are really shocked when they come here. So I know that some people say, oh, I want to learn Spanish. I like Spain, but I don't want to learn the Castilian Spanish because I don't like the way it sounds. Well, then the Canary Islands is the place you want to go, hands down. But for me, I learned Spanish in the peninsula, and for me, it was a lot easier. I didn't really care about dialects at the time. I just needed to learn Spanish to survive, and that's why I learned it. But when you come to the Canary Islands, it's a whole different ball game because they sound very similar to Venezuelans, to Cubans, to Dominicans. So this would probably be home, home to you, because the Canary Islands, it just has a Latin flavor. It's so funny, but I like it. But again, if you want to learn Spanish, just general Spanish, the mainland. Food. Generally, I love Spanish food in general. It's starting to be one of my favorite types of food, but between the peninsula and the Canary Islands, I'm sorry, Canary Islands, I'm gonna have to give it to the peninsula, to mainland Spain. I think the food, okay, there are some dishes I like in the Canary Islands, but their food is different, and I prefer the mainland. Their food, to me, is just so much better. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Weather. All right, Canary Islands, you got this beat. The weather in the Canary Islands is amazing. It's like subtropical weather all year round. I mean, you can even go to the beach in the winter. I mean, I won't because the water's cold, but it's nice to be outside. Usually in the winter, you'll find German tourists in the ocean, but it's a little bit too cold for me. However, going outside, I mean, you watch my videos. I mean, look at what I wear. So the weather is nice all year round. It hardly rains. It rains sometimes, but it's nothing like what you find in northern Spain. Less stressful. Canary Islands. I'm gonna have to give it to the Canary Islands. The people here are so relaxed. They're not busy. They're not, I mean, this can be bad too, you know, if you want to get something done. But I mean, the environment is just very chill. It's like no one has a care in the world. You don't stress. And generally in Spain, it's less stress if you compare it to the United States. But in bigger cities like Barcelona and Madrid, it's like very, very, very busy. But here, it's the opposite. Cost of food, going out to eat, buying food at the supermarket. I'm gonna have to say it's cheaper, in my experience, in the mainland. Here, it's slightly more expensive, and I don't know if it's because of importing cost. I have no idea, but it is a little bit more expensive. However, it's still cheaper than anything you're gonna find in the US. But living in both places, the mainland was a lot cheaper. Especially the alcohol. I remember when I was in Barcelona, the alcohol was dirt cheap, okay? I cannot tell you how drunk me and my friends got. Nightlife. The peninsula. Mainland Spain, because when I lived in Madrid, things were open late. We went out, me and my friends, we went out every single night. There was always something going on, always something to do, but here things close early, and that's what I don't like. And because there's not, you know, there's not very many people, it's not populated. So there's not a lot to do, especially if you don't like water sports or the beach. You won't find too much. I mean, we have clubs here, things like that, but they're not big, they're not extravagant, and there's not a lot of them compared to what you'll find in the peninsula. Public transportation. All right. The mainland. The mainland, I mean, here you need a car, okay? There's a bus, but it's so slow and it's very expensive. And it takes, for example, from the south of the island to the north, it's like 2 hours or more. And they don't have a metro, but I would say Barcelona and Madrid, they have the best transportation systems I have ever seen in my life. I'm not joking. You don't need a car to do anything. I mean, they have metro, bus, taxi. I mean, here we have taxi too, but it's expensive. Jobs. So for finding jobs, I mean, I think it depends on what exactly it is you want to do, because here, okay, well right now it's hard to find a job in either place because of the coronavirus, but let's pretend that the coronavirus never happened. If you are working in tourism, hotels or restaurants or anything like that, I would say it's very easy to find a job in the Canary Islands. If you are an English teacher, it's very easy because there's not a whole lot of English teachers here. I remember I worked at one school where the lady told me, oh my God, it's so difficult to find English teachers. It's so difficult. But in mainland Spain, there's so much competition. However, depending on what your field is in, because if you don't work as a teacher or you don't work in the tourist industry, you're better off going to the mainland to find work. So I'm gonna have to give it a tie between the two because it differs depending on your needs. That's all I can think about at the moment between the differences. So basically it depends on what you want. Okay, so there are things that I like from both places, but here in the Canary Islands overall, I love it, and I think it's because of the weather, but sometimes I do miss the peninsula. So it's hard to say for me. It's really hard to say. But I think if you're on vacation, either place would be perfect. I think Spain in general, no matter where you are, is gorgeous. I mean, except for the Balearic Islands, I've never been there, so I don't have any information, but when I do go, of course, I'll do a video. With that being said, have a good day, and I will see you in my next video. Ciao. Hasta luego.